Now this is really tricky. I'm going to pick two centre-backs for my all-time Manchester United 11, the greatest Man United 11 of all time. And we've had some awesome players have played centre-half for Manchester United over the years. So before I pick my two, some honourable mentions. Big Jim HOLTON, God rest his soul. I'll never forget HOLTON. What a hero at Old Trafford, and of course played for Scotland too. But he was a man mountain. You know, the old chant used to be 6'2", eyes of blue, but I think he was 6'4" actually, wasn't he, Jim HOLTON? I'll never forget a game, Manchester United against Southampton, and Peter Osgood was playing for Southampton, and HOLTON and Osgood both went for a 50-50 ball, and Osgood was a big unit, and they crunched together. And the next time there's a 50-50 ball between the two, you could see the fear in Osgood's eyes, and he actually pulled up, and Osgood was known as being a tough player. HOLTON, though, doesn't quite make it on footballing ability and pace for me. Also, we had a JAAP STAM. You know, he had pace, he read the game really well. You know, he was absolutely superb. I would say his only downside for me was that he was drawn to the ball a little bit too much. If you'll never forget that Leeds goal scored when he went chasing, I think it was VIDIC, out to the corner flag for no particular reason, leaving a huge gap in the middle. Ball came over, Leeds United scored. So for that reason, I'm not going to pick STAM, and also because, well, Fergie sold him, didn't he? So he can't have been that good, can he? Gary Pallister, again, Pallister, like any centre-back, took a while to settle in. He was a big money signing from Middlesbrough at the time. But Pallister, what I loved about him was how quick he was. I mean, he's possibly the quickest centre-half we've ever had. You know, he could burn up those yards, he could catch people. And also, sometimes, you know, if he had the ball, he could do that great long raking pass. And I think that was often a part of his game that was underestimated. Steve Bruce, of course, a fantastic organiser. You always need a great organiser at the back. You know, it's impossible to pick two defenders who weren't great organisers, and that for me was what Steve Bruce did. Steve Bruce could organise that back four. Again, we've got to talk about Rio, again, an organiser. The only reason that I'm not going to pick Rio is that I still don't think we quite got the consistency there. He was amazing at times, but I'll never forget when he kept giving Brazilian Ronaldo a little bit too much room at Old Trafford in that 4-3 game against Real Madrid years ago. And I just, you know, a lot of it was blamed on Barthez, but I thought Rio that night overestimated how quick he was, gave him a few yards, and, you know, he was destroyed, really, wasn't he, by Brazilian Ronaldo. So I'm not going to have Rio in my all-time greatest centre-backs. There's loads of other honourable mentions there. This is going to be a bit controversial to some of you, well, to many of you. No VIDIC either. Again, a man mountain, a fantastic player. But my choice for centre-backs in my all-time Man United first 11 are Martin Buchan, Peter Perfect. He was fantastic from the day we bought him. One of the best signings, and it was Franco Farrell who bought him for 100,000 from Aberdeen. And he was absolutely superb. And again, an organiser, you know, and really cared. He was United through and through. I'll never forget that time when he gave Gordon Hill a slap around the head for not tracking back. You know, our great left winger, Gordon Hill. And I have to say, Gordon Hill was never the same player after that. So maybe that wasn't such a good thing. But yeah, it's got to be Martin Buchan. And I might even, well, I'm maybe not captain of the team, but we'll have him vice-captain. Martin Buchan at the back, and alongside him, and a player who, to me, if we could have got him the right partner, would have won us a league in the mid-80s. Obviously, he had a lot of injury problems, but he was a true footballer, and that is Paul McGrath, an absolute beast at the time. You know, he had pace, you know, he read the game superbly, and he could actually play. He was almost like, he was like an Irish Beckenbauer, really. And, you know, so you would think, can we play him in midfield? We could have played him anywhere, I think, Paul McGrath. So I'm going to have Paul McGrath alongside Martin Buchan to help Paul McGrath keep his discipline. But you've got two great footballing centre-halves there, and I would have trusted them against anyone. The pity is, actually, that Ron Atkinson was never allowed to buy Terry Butcher, because can you imagine a central defensive partnership in the 80s at United of McGrath and Butcher? We would definitely have won the league under Big Ron then. if a few other players could have kept fit. So that's my centre-half pairing for United, Martin Buchan and Paul McGrath, two international footballers who played at the top level and in World Cups too.